All right, good evening, guys. Ken at Tortoise Capital, nightly strategy podcast for August 30th, 2023. I was reviewing some of the material that Griff and Phil are putting out in the Applied Systems Workshop. I think they have done such a really good job of cleaning up a lot of the materials. Here's a nice one where they are itemizing the elements of plan, prepare, execute, and assess, kind of all the things that go into the planning, how we do trade framing to prepare, how we do our money management and mental readiness as part of preparation and rehearsal. And then in execution, the dashboard and the different patterns and techniques we're looking for to execute ruthlessly. And then what we're doing in the post-trade analysis, I just think they did a really nice job on that one. That's definitely a chart worth keeping. They then convert to this one where they give a little bit of more of a visual approach, how all of the filters and whatnot go into the information collection to come up with the tradable list, and then a visual representation of what we mean by framing the trade, starting with a compound critical state, which may have been an abnormally quiet or was an abnormal sell-off or an abnormal gain, which terminated in a range compression, which now creates that opportunity for large moves in either direction in sort of a standard chart markup. Then they cleaned up this one, which is a how to incorporate that standard trade frame and the idea that compound critical state, and then the step-by-step process we go through to perform the rehearsal and visualization for every trade. Nice summary of some key definitions for different concepts. This is going to be part of book 2, where I go into the technical analysis and describing the concepts and indicators we've developed and how we use the standard ones maybe in a non-standard way. Culminating with what I think is a really nice summary of mental, emotional readiness, the time, will, pattern, and money to stay focused, why gratitude and forgiveness are so crucial, what mental readiness means in terms of being ready to play, and the zero state as a term of art where we describe what that actually means in terms of a trader's mindset. And then the idea of the owl meditation as a visualization exercise to get back to that zero state, that place of ideal trading. So I always think of that as sort of a journey, that wherever I am and I want to trade, I have to get to that zero state by that deep, dark pond with the owl overwatching me, so that I know that I'm in a place where trading is favorable. So there's a journey that I have to take that gets me to that zero state, and the owl meditation is how I get there. So I think they've just done a really nice job, and I think they're hitting their stride. They're in the third cohort, coming up to completion on the third cohort, and I just think the world of them and how well they're doing. It's kind of neat to see it. We'll shift over now to the hybrid swing trading 30-minute charts. Starting as always with Alcoa. So yesterday's Kata 2 in Alcoa with a standard risk closed well. Today it briefly monkeyed around. I have a relaxed stop on it. We're 2 days into it. It closed nicely. But tomorrow, I think, is the crucial day. It resisted the sell-off and the buyers came back in, but it lacked the urgency that I like to see. I think it needs urgency to get through this support level. So tomorrow it's time to fish or cut bait. I will move my stop up to this level now underneath the dragon and lock that in. I could afford a day of relaxing a little bit, but now that it's here and trying to test, I'm not going to give it a second chance to fail. AI, no trade, although I think there was an opportunity in there um, early in this little move. On the 3 minutes, that's a tradable move, but it was not on the swing trade time frame. I think it's still digesting this nice move off the bottom. And to be fair, it's at a crucial resistance level here. Uh, Tomorrow, a vote north would be excellent. It has to get through 33 to become significant and an indication of another leg of this size. So AI will be under close observation tomorrow. Amazon kind of just topping out. Caterpillar, I added a second position. That one really is turning out to be pretty nice. The emerging dragon caught a two combination right here with a tight risk. Closed well, and then today it ran up. I would not have been offended if you took this exit. I was looking to get more, and the PSAR is still holding. And this thing is now up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the first position. Basically a scratch on the second position. So we're at +5 on two positions. Uh, I like that a lot. And the market showed some strength today. So this is one where like an industrial company could really do well. Cliff, I was ready to cash, and that gave me +1. It's been really just caught in this chop, so this was a chance to get paid on routine oscillation. It almost reminded me of those passive solar collectors that work on, regular waves in the ocean. So you get some kind of just natural waveform, and just in the rising and falling, it moves a float up and down, and that float drives a shaft, which generates power. And so it just is routinely harvesting routine volatility in ocean waves. And that's kind of what this felt like. This whole cycle has just been quietly chunking along. So nothing wrong with getting paid. CVS, it would be harder to imagine a tighter range compression than that, especially after this. It just feels like there was a bone bruise or a mind bruise on that big gap down, and that's been just as tight as you could want it. Um, that's about a 20-cent risk. So it may be time for this breakout. I think I'm going to be ready for that. That's 8 days of abnormal chop. That almost deserves looking at. Yeah, so let's do that. Let's look at CVS on a daily. Um, why is that giving me a hard time, I wonder? Looking for my standard setup here. There we go. All right, so we're going to look at CVS. Yeah, that's a pretty tight compression right there. It's harder to get much tighter than that. Dish Network, also a range compression and a sideways chop. So both of those are in the hopper for range breakouts in this next cycle. Devon Energy chilling out after a gain. Electronic Arts, we closed the long. This one gave us a cut of two, re-entry, and then a rollover. Standard Dragon exit for +2. Emerging markets, I exited that one. Couldn't take the heat any longer. Oops, excuse me. Yeah. So this one gave us the PSAR flip, and this was 3, 4, 5, 6 on this one, and 2 on that one. So that gave us 8R in a couple days, and pretty happy about that. Now, what I like is the fact that it just stayed inside this nice tight box right here. So I'm going to treat that as a compound critical state and ready to break in either direction. So that's a zero state kind of a trade. That's what I mean when I show this chart. That how we get into the critical state makes it interesting. The fact that it's in a compound critical state means that it can break out from that in either direction, unsurprising. And so sometimes this could have been like CVS and Dish, which had that abnormal sideways compression, like a coiled spring. Or it could have been like an SSC where there was a harsh sell off into a critical state and then rebounds, or gives us a collapsing dragon. Or, like in this case, it was a really strong move, which we cashed, and then it didn't fail. It stayed locked into that into that tight compression, and that gives us a nice um, compound critical state that alerts us to make us ready for a move in either direction. So that's how I'm looking at you know that's what this looks like. This had an opportunity to fail. It did not. It had an opportunity to resume. It did not. It just kind of stabilized, and that should have people licking their chops in both directions. Ethereum, kind of the same play. Two long positions, dragon exit or a PSAR exit, and then failure to fail. So I'd actually like to see that form a base for this next leg up. So if we called that leg one and called that leg two, which itself had two legs, this failure to fail now could be one of those. I mean, it could also do that, of course. It's crypto, but that has some potential. As you can see, I think we've got some moves back up here to 42, 41, 40 and a half, and it's put in a couple nice rebound legs after that long sell off. Oh, I'm sorry, EEM. Um, so yeah, I like EEM here. Let me take a look at Ethereum. Sorry about that. That'd be nice if it was the same chart. Not quite. This actually has some. This is showing some evidence of benign neglect. There's been no failures. Everybody that could have been chased out got out here. Nice support level around 5. Important support at about 9, and now support trying to form around 10. So if this can break above and go, 15 is in range. That's a stealth trade waiting to happen right there, my friends. And the most recent burst was up, so that's got some potential. All right, EWW closed out the long trade here from yesterday. That's just a PSAR reversal for 1, 2, 3 for 4R. That just quietly got it done. Another 4 to 5R here in Mexico, Brazil, excuse me. I was impressed that after the exits, most of these just held what they had. There was not like a uh, urgent selling pressure. That's actually a pretty healthy sign. Intel closed out the 2-position long. IP, I'm liking that. I think I missed an opportunity for a second position in there, but to be fair, we're only at 2R, and that's cruising along. I definitely missed the reentry in real estate. Nothing in regional banks. Mattel put a COTA 2 back on today, and it closed very well. I'm liking that one. And that seems to have recovered from that harsher sell-off. And this is now testing, you know, this whole, there's a lot of pressure keeping the man down, but it's right there ready to go. Yeah. And nice recovery on the 3-day. And the 9-day showing a COTA 2 style. I think Mattel's in pretty good shape right here. McDonald's closed the 3R today. I like the recovery at the end of the day. I'll be ready to re-enter tomorrow. This is setting up a nice COTA 2. So we took the opportunity to get paid, stalking the re-entry, and if the market continues, that's going to be good. So I want to try to enter somewhere around in here. And then if it gets north of 285, the next target is 286, and then it's free and clear. Merck, no trade. I missed a COTA 2. Microsoft closed the SSC and the second position continuation. Marijuana. Why was this ever something today? So the gap and go. This was a no-brainer for me. That when it has this long, skinny sideways, and then it jumps way up in here, and I get a chance to put a position on, I take it, and then it did nothing except this, and then rolled over, and I cut it on the gift. We'll see that one again on a 3-minute chart for sniper trade of the day. Nvidia, 2-position long PSAR exit. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's about 9R. The semiconductors were really good. Clean energy, no trade. Rivian, just holding the 3-position long on this one, and it pushed to new highs. I think I missed a chance to get another one in. But boy, I like that one. The S&P maintained its support and it closed near the top of the range today. That's actually a bit of a follow through. So, this was the critical state that we talked about on Friday, and then this was Monday's grind, Tuesday's explosion, and then it held pretty well today and closed pretty well. So, that's actually part of that grinding scenario one of gains that we talked about from the weekend. Tesla still holding two. U.S. Steel just maintaining. So all that's looking pretty good. Sniper trade. So this is that marijuana trade. I think marijuana. Yeah, on that long sideways chop. And then today it stayed in that chop, and then the news hit. I think Mike said Biden sent a letter to look to reduce weed to class three, and that just exploded. So just ventured in with the standard risk on it, and then all that did was do that in the next 15 minutes. I couldn't take it any longer, so when it rolled over, I took the exit, like basically a dragon exit, and that is um, just a single position, and that's 11R. So sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. But, I will just tell you, the more prepared I am, the luckier I get. It pays to have a portfolio that is composed of a variety of symbols across different sectors that are showing themselves to be very volatile. And you will recall that marijuana has been consistently in the top tradables on the daily report for days and weeks and months. So that's why it's on there. All right, we'll take a quick look at the traders. This is Jose. Dude, you're just crushing it. This is like that ocean wave, and all you're doing is getting paid and cashing. Dude, that's all you're doing, and that's quite enough. You're finding those sell-offs that failed to fail further, gave enough of a signal to be ready. You get the PSAR flip, standard risk, and you take what it'll give you. You know how many people want to be able to just do that? Do you know how much money people are spending to try to find just how to do that? And you're doing it, and you're asking me about other things that you could do. Note to self: uh, pay attention to the trading you've been doing the last 3 weeks. Uh, don't lose sight of that value. Same thing, same result. Hamad getting paid a fraction here, or I'm sorry, slight scratch. Uh, you're trading, as you note in your self coaching, you're trading a lot and maybe being late. I think you got to catch these. Why aren't we short here? And now you have this trade. That's all the difference in the world. You know, Greg, there's only one guy stopping you from doing that. I like this entry. This is a Z3 pinch breakout. I think we got to get out of it sooner. That is certainly a fake one go to. We got to get out of that sooner. I like the stop and reverse and that you stayed with it. You know, if we could reduce these two losses by one half, then the good trade pays for both of those and leaves you net positive. Good stuff. Get in the habit of drawing this line here. When that PSR flip happens right there, so close to the Z3 line. And then as this starts moving up the stack, you say, how high does this have to move before my minimum manageable risk box is in? Because if this fails, you want to be short anyway. So as long as you get just a little bit of a buffer right here, we can be getting that trade. Then this becomes a kata 2, and I don't mind that, and I like the quick cut. But it's this first one. Same thing. Uh, I actually don't mind getting short somewhere in here. Now, there's not much of a follow through, but that PSR flip is a trade. Yeah, and that since you're showing the 30-minute chart over here too, um, maybe what you should be looking at is when it signals an entry on the 30-minute PSR flip, 109.60. This breakout here is that breakout there. And now this trade, which you could get in right here, gives you this one. And then instead of trying to enter at the very extreme of a Z3, is you now have a cautionary move. Look, this has got to have an immediate follow through or it's time to get out, which means you could actually then trade that. But maybe you should be looking at your 30-minute patterns to stalk. I'm not sure that you're doing that right now. There's nothing wrong with that trade except not stopping and reversing. There's actually an owl entry in here. When the R10 and the RL30 roll over and the dragon rolls up, especially after that harsh sell off that pushed the boundaries of Z3, and then it doesn't fail further. There's actually an entry in there or an entry here for a kata 2 with a really tight risk. There's actually a 2 execution risk move to there. Good trade. This break here looks like that rollover and back into the dragon there. And that move down to 35.95 is this one. So that's not a bad entry on the 30-minute. I actually think that's a CD. And then when it doesn't work, you could get out of that right there and then stop and reverse because it's failure to fail. So this is a case, I think, properly a 30-minute signal for the potential trade, and then when it doesn't work, you can look for the reversal, and then you get that trade. But part of this is, I think you got too many symbols, and so your span of control for scanning and developing the narrative. Maybe cut your symbol list in half. This one nets positive. I like that. Tesla, good trade, good turnaround. Brian, positive second trade. Yeah, the trailing stop. You might want to give that a try since the you don't have to worry about the gaps in the forex. Yeah, and this one that's 1.34, 1.24. So everything's looking good there. All right, guys, that's everything for tonight. Good work. We will catch you tomorrow. I started my International Coaching Federation certification course today, so I'll probably 6 months from now I'll be a ICF certified coach. Looking to just improve my coaching and feedback techniques, part of my own professional development. So more to follow on that one. I've also downloaded all of our older live trading workshop videos, and I'm going to make a consolidated live trading video course that collects the best of our live trading from like 2016 forward, when really the owls and the frogs and the Generation 2 patterns really came online. There's a chance to see some of that more live action. So I'll be developing that out over the next couple of weeks. All right, take good care, and we shall see you soon. Yeah, I think I'm up to walking an hour a day. I mean, I've been walking an hour for the last 2 weeks, but my distance has doubled, and I'm now able to get back into I got an infrared spa, which is helping, I think, clean up the lungs and get this, the lymph nodes and circulatory system working. So, my energy level is actually really pretty good. So, anyway, thanks for inquiring, and we shall see you soon, guys. Take good care.